Does anybody got any questions from last week first?
I don't have any questions, I just need to practice more.
Me too.
I'm actually feeling good about the paradigms.
You feel good about it? Good.
Don't put me to the test. I'm just saying I've
Built up some confidence.
That's
built
good.
up a little bit of confidence.
Confidence helps for sure.
I understand the general concept of it.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
No big questions?
I think one of the bigger questions was just the similarities in they and he in the future tense, and just how often do we need to prepare for understanding the difference between in your future tense paradigm right here,
Mm-hmm.
the similarities on
Well, two of them are the same.
Yeah.
but they're in different form, right?
Yeah, she
will guard
Yep, and you masculine and singular are the
and
same.
you will guard, yes.
But it'll be a lot easier when you get a
Easy.
context.
And I guess, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how often are these?
It won't be a problem.
And there's another one too, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they will guard and you will guard, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to tell.
Tishmorna.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell. So, I mean, these two are pretty similar because they're both feminine plural.
Right.
So
You will guard and they
yeah,
will guard.
So that won't really change the meaning of whatever you're translating mostly.
Okay.
This one could, right? Because it could be you talking to a male, or
Guard
or it can mean she. But you'll be able to tell from the context.
Sure. All right.
But it can be tricky. But the big thing is if the signal letter's at the end, think of it as past, and if the signal letter is, before, and you get the thing at the end as well, before you
good.
is future. hmm
Okay.
Now, what we're gonna do in chapter 12 is words that start with like a vav, which there's not very many that start with a vav, but words that start with like a yod, or an aleph, or a noon, or a hey, when they're imperfect, which means they're gonna get a prefix, something on the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a yod, or a hey, or a noon, or an aleph, that first letter of the root's gonna drop off.
Yes.
So it can get tricky, but there's a reason why it drops off.
If the root begins with a vav, a hey, a yod, or an aleph,
Or noon.
or a noon, the root word begins with any of those. Okay.
Yep, that letter, if it's one of those letters I just mentioned, it will drop off the root. Now, there's some reason to it, right? So like, what if the root word begins with the aleph already, and you're gonna put an aleph on it from ani? We don't need two, right? Or if it begins with a yod already, and we're gonna make it like masculine, singular, imperfect, it's gonna get another yod, so that we don't have two yods. So it kind of makes sense, right? But it does it also if you're not gonna get that one, right? So if it comes with one of those letters, it'll drop off. So I'll show you. It can be a little bit tricky, but the key is like just knowing the roots and the vocabulary. Here's where it gets serious. So in chapter 12, look at page, this one had it easier. Look at page 108. In the middle of the page, kind of where it says perfect and imperfect and verb root beginning with aleph. Oh, a tav is one also. Aleph, tav, yod, or noon. Okay, on the left side where it has perfect, right, we have the word yada. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
So, you see it?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I meant to know.
Oh, yeah. So that makes sense for us, right? Yada, like he knew. But what if we want to say he will know, right? We need to put a yod on the front of that, but then there would be two yods, right? So that would be silly.
Because it's yish marte. he will Yishmar, he will guard, right?
Yishmor, yeah.
Yishmor, he will guard.
Mhm.
So we're going to conjugate the same way for Yada.
Right.
He will know.
So, yep. So, if you notice the vowel change in he will know, Yeda, that yod is not from the root. That yod is from the imperfect form.
So it
From the-
becomes a signal letter.
It's a signal letter. It's not the yod from the root. Right?
It's new yod.
It's a new yod because the old yod went away. Make sense? Okay. We have with the next one down, Yashvu, they settled. Okay. Look over at the imperfect, Yeshvu. Okay, that yod is not from the root of Yeshav. It's a new one. Because you remember your paradigm, Yishmor, Yishmaru,
Yishmaru.
right? Okay, so that's where that yod comes from.
The car crash has occurred.
The car crash has occurred, but it's like two Priuses with the same color crashed together. So, so
Right.
okay. These are ones that make more sense. That's why we're looking at these first. Because we'll go back to the beginning of the chapter. They kind of start you off with a little bit harder stuff. The next one down, he said, Amar, right? Amar. He said, okay, I will say, it takes the aleph from ani,
Ani.
and you get that vowel pattern, Umar. Because
Umar.
it's a new aleph.
Is it still gonna, you know how, like if there's not any vowel indicators on there, will it still take, can you assume that it takes the pa'a?
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's no vowel indicators, it's just the root. So we'll just like default to the sound to be able to say it. Okay? So you kind of get the idea of how it works. Let's go back to page 106 and we'll work through this and see. So we're just going to talk about this stuff and then read because there's a bunch of exercises. But what I want y'all to do for homework is read the chapter, like the whole chapter. Read the whole chapter. Like go through the exercises like in your head. You don't have to write them all down.
Okay.
Okay, so we're not going to go over the vocabulary because it's review. Then let's see how they explain the drop letter imperfects to us in the book. It says, unfortunately,
They already know.
It's rough, as I tell you, but I just showed you that first because there's a reason. I think they should have showed you the reason, kind of why first, because you're just like, why? So I remember when I was learning this, I kept saying every week, and asked Katie, I was like, I'm good as long as they don't add one more thing. And then they add like 3 more things.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much. But you'll get it. And if you ever get discouraged, just look back in some of the previous chapters we did and you'll see how far that you've came. Okay, so unfortunately, some of the most common verbs in the Bible are irregular and they're imperfect tense. And you will get used to them. Because Hebrew doesn't really have a whole lot of words as far as languages go. Because we're basically only dealing with the Hebrew that's in the Bible. Nothing else, really. We don't really care about any other kind of ancient Hebrew that's not in the Bible, right? Well,
As long as we don't have to watch movies, right?
right, yeah.
The language evolved to a point, and in
Yeah.
the Bible, it stopped evolving.
And we're only dealing with words that are in the Bible. Only those words, which we
Just a few of those.
which care about. But there's less than other languages. By the time you get done with this book, you'll know all the words that occur like 50 or 70 times more or more in the Bible. So you'll know most of the words in the Bible already. You guys know a bunch of them already. So, but the most common verbs are irregular in the Bible. And they give us these 4 here. And they do occur all the time. So this chapter will introduce some of the irregular forms. Some verbs in the imperfect tense seem very unusual, and they do, right? So verbs that begin with a yod, which we just looked at some of those, a vav, a nun, a lamed, a hey, but also with a tav. So any of your signal letters plus like a lamed or a hey, Noon is kind of a weird one already, right? Like when we think of like Anashim and Isha, or right? Yeah, that's a good. Or Isha and Nashim, I should have said, right? Like woman and women, right? Like what's the noon is like kind of floaty. So all these can lose the first letter of the imperfect. Below are 4 of the most common drop letter imperfects, and they are pretty common too. They're pretty common, so we get used to know these. Like yada, that word's used all the time in different ways in the Bible, and we talked about the different ways yada is used. So you notice that the yod went away, right? You're gonna see that a lot. Lekach, you're gonna get that a lot, right? With just the 2 letters.
Take.
Yeshav, you're gonna see that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
You see that even in like Daniel 7.
7.
Yeah, or sit.
Sit.
Yep. Like the Lord said to my Lord.
Sit on my right hand until I may put my enemies
Like that.
under your feet. Yeah.
Like that. There's no yod there. Halach, that's a big one. That's even the Torah portion next week. Lech lecha. Those are 2 drop letter imperfects. And that title, like God told Abraham, you go for yourself from your father's house, from your country, to a land I'll show you. Both those are drop letter imperfects. So get used to seeing them, especially with these ones here. So the way to identify these drop letters, which we kind of already talked about, the way to identify these drop letter verbs is to know the root well enough to recognize it when there are only 2 letters left. And I promise you it's way easier when you have a context, and it's way easier when you already know what the passage says in English and you're looking closer. It's a lot easier to figure out. Okay, so remember that the signal letters of the imperfect always stay the same, right? So your signal letter is going to be your signal letters. You need to know these signal letters as well as you know the multiplication tables or the ABCs.
That's not very well.
I know the signal letters better than I know my multiplication tables.
I'm still singing the songs from 3rd grade.
I use the signal letters more than I got a calculator on my phone.
As well as the ABCs. Forget multiplication.
Yep. Yeah, so know your vocabulary, know your signal letters. You don't need to know necessarily all the vowel patterns. I mean, you need to know them, but you don't need to necessarily always be able to reproduce them. I want you to be able to now, but in reality, like 2 or 3 years from now, if you stick with Hebrew, you may not be able to reproduce all the vowel patterns on a piece of paper, but you'll sure be able to recognize them. And you'll know the signal letters like the back of your hand. And you'll remember the roots. Okay, so we are listing all 4 of these verbs so that you can see them in all the forms. Learn to identify and translate each of them. You do not need to memorize the spelling for each form, as they'll always be listed in the verb spelling chart on pages 370 and 372. That's in the back. I think we looked at that before. Super helpful. Now, on 107,
Oh boy.
okay, it's not as complicated as it seems. So on that top row, we have the roots for know, take, sit, and walk. These same ones we just got, right? On the farthest right-hand column, what are all those words?
Those are the pronouns.
So pronouns, right? And you'll know those good. Okay. Now, it's the same thing we did last week. You're putting the signal letter from those pronouns, which that don't change, right? Signal letter. The signal, all you're doing is putting the signal letter from the pronoun on the front of that word. But these words here start with those letters that have a tendency to drop away.
So it's not necessarily replacing an aleph with an aleph.
Right, not necessarily. That's why I showed you the first thing first.
Yeah.
So these letters over here, they're like weaker letters. Like they have a tendency to float away, right? Like a yod can be like stand for a vowel sometimes.
Yes.
A vav can stand for a vowel sometimes. A hey can stand for a vowel sometimes. A noon's already kind of floaty, right? And lamed is kind of like, you know, like we said, it can mean whatever we want it to mean a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit weaker letters. Just think of them that way, you know? They got a tendency to fall off and maybe they'll come back again, maybe they won't, right?
multi-purpose, yeah.
Yeah, they're multi-purpose, they're multifunctional.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of think of them like that, They're
And
not-
like I would say more abstract and less
They're more
concrete.
abstract, yeah.
Not concrete letters.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, yeah.
They're not like, yeah, it's a good way to think of it.
Yeah.
They're not like if you see a cough, you're like, that's a cough, it's not
Yeah.
going anywhere.
The Vav is like can be weird when you look at it. You're like, what does it mean?
Right. We already do weird stuff with all these letters already, right?
Yes.
So we already do weird stuff with the yods and the vovs.
And
The
the
vov
noon.
means like 9 different things, right? And then
Yes.
we do weird stuff with the noon and the lamed and the hey. Sometimes we
Hey,
say
yes.
it, sometimes we don't say it,
It
right?
could be the hate of direction.
Yep.
Right.
So they already got stuff going on, so that won't be so hard to remember. So all we're doing is taking the signal letters, which you guys already know, from the pronouns, which you already know, and we're putting it on the first, which you guys already know how to do. Just sometimes some of those letters drop away. So you need to know the root well enough to be able to recognize it. Because if you're like, what is this word? And you're like, okay, I think this aleph or whatever it is on the front or this noon is a signal letter. You can take that off and you're like, let me try it with the yod. Let me try it with the hey. Just real quick in your mind. Maybe even a noon or a vav or they didn't list it here, but a tav. And you'll be able to do it. So it makes sense, right? So if we have ani and we have the root halach, right? We want to make it where I will walk. It's elech. Right? Not ehelech. It's just elech. And we'll go down this row here. You can see ata, right, is you, masculine singular. We're going to take the signal letter for that, which is just the tav, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to put it on the first of halach. But the hey drops off, so we have telech. Makes sense, right? It's strange, but it makes sense.
Ata is you, masculine.
Right.
Telech.
Yep. Now the next one down, the pronoun is at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you remember our shamar paradigm,
Shamarti. Or no, Shama.
Tishmari.
Tishmari. Yeah.
Tishmari, right?
Tishmari.
Right. So we get the tav and the e sound on the end, tishmari,
Mm-hmm.
because you only got so many words and sounds to go around. So telchi. Okay. And all we're looking at really is a signal letter on the beginning and the end. We already know what we're talking about, right? It's like you feminine. We know that because it just looks like you feminine when we see that pattern. That's why I want you to think of it like just the way it looks, right? It looks like that. And then we have these two letters in the middle, lamed and kaf. And you're like, what the heck is that? You're like, just try one of the other letters. Couldn't be a yod. Couldn't be a lamed, right? But let's try a hey. We're like, oh, halach. I know that word, and that makes sense in the context. You'll be able to get where you can figure it out pretty quick. And so on and so on. Okay? It's something to get used to. Now, there's where it says partial drop letter imperfects, there's some words that just drop the letter sometimes. Okay, so they're going to give the two examples with this for achal and amar. So achal is eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it only going to drop the olive sometimes, and so we don't end up with two olives. I think that one's pretty easy. We have ani, or if it wanted to be I will eat is ochal. I might even translate that like I'm eating.
Yeah.
Now what would it be if it was he ate?
Would it be
Oh.
Achal.
achal? Yeah.
Yep, just put the off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But it's not hard, right? See? So yeah, the rest of it basically follows the pattern that you think it would. As you can see, you guys notice, see it follows basically the pattern that you guys had last week. Just with the thing before it, with a signal letter before it. Okay. So we have no new vocabulary this week, but we do have it's basically the same thing we learned last week, except for they're showing you how sometimes you get a letter that drops away, right? And it's only those specific letters. So it's basically the exact, there's no new vocabulary. It's basically the same exact thing about the imperfect paradigm. They're just introducing that there's some words that are strange so that you don't end up with something weird like 2 olives or 2 yods or something like that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to use it then, since y'all got it. Well, we'll look at page 108 first. One more. Give it a little more time to marinate. Okay, how do you identify drop letter imperfects? Kind of already explained it. So it says it's easier than you think. Look at the imperfect tense beginning with the signal letters aleph, tav, yod, and nun. Okay, so starting with the far right side, see where that box around the tav is right there?
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody see it?
Yes.
Somebody tell me what that word means.
Just read.
You will sit.
Who?
You.
You masculine?
Feminine.
Are you
Feminine.
feminine? Oh yes, with the yod at the end. Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And somebody tell me, see the one with the noon with the box around it?
Yes.
What's that word mean?
House.
We will take.
Yes. Very good. See, you recognize it already. Okay, the next one.
Yelahu. Yelahu.
Somebody went,
Yeah.
or somebody will go.
So you recognizing it. Okay, so if you worry, go back to the previous chapter on page 95, and everybody just keep your finger on that page. Now let's look for the pattern with the yod, the hirig yod in the front, and the shuruk with the vav at the end.
Oh, let's see.
Which one is it?
They will guard.
They will guard, right? Masculine. Okay, so keep your hand on that page while we're working through this. Now go back to that word. What does it mean?
They will take.
They will take.
They will take.
Right. They will take. The hay went away.
For halach.
Yep. And then we need the signal letters put on it, so we know who's doing what.
They will take. Yelahu.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next box has the olive right there. What does that word mean?
No,
The root is no.
the root is no.
The root is not no.
It's not no.
Oh yeah, it is no. Like to know. I thought you meant no. I will know.
I don't
Yep.
know.
Correct. It was new because it was past tense, but now it's I will know.
I will know.
Okay, very good. So then look for the imperfect tense signal letters. We just all did this, like the yod or the vav with the shuruk, or even the noon with the hay, right? Remember that not every imperfect tense form has remember that not every imperfect tense form has ending signal letters, right? So that they don't all, some just have the olive in front, or the tav in the front, right? But you know, like you feminine singular has the tav in the front and the hirig yod, you know. And they give you these examples here. I think you guys got it now. I think you guys got it now.
I'm cloudy.
Okay. Is it a little weird? It takes time to marinate in. But it's the same thing you learned last week. Just recognize that sometimes some of the letters drop away. And they're explaining how it works, but once we start doing it, because you guys are already doing it naturally. All right, so it's way easier to do it naturally, like how we speak English naturally. And we know when things look right and sound right from doing it, but we may not be able to explain it to someone that's not familiar with the way English works, right? But it's easier to, like we say, like it's easier to catch it kind of than explain it. So at the bottom of that page, it says how to distinguish perfect from imperfect. This too is easier than you think. You guys are already doing this, so it should be easy. All you have to do is find the signal letters. If the signal letters in the front of the root, the verb is in the imperfect tense. If the signal letters or the letters only appear after the root, the verb is in
Finally, a
perfect.
concrete rule in Hebrew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until they change it next time.
Isn't it?
There are some exceptions. There are
Look in the middle of the word.
There will be stuff in the middle, but
Yeah.
it won't be. It'll be easy for y'all. But you guys already knew this, right? If it's at the end of the word, it already happened. Beginning of the word is going to happen, basically. Okay.
Ishamur Abogard. Shamarti Abogard.
Cool, right? Okay. Now let's read. I want you guys to, at home, read this chapter at least one time. At least one time. More if you can. But like say it out loud. And try to translate in your head and stuff. I want you to get used to reading a little bit more at one time. And if that means that it's less writing it down, then that's just what it is. That you're gonna get that way. You need to be read it as much Hebrew as you can read. Okay, so let's go to page 112. We're gonna read. You guys know all the words in here. There's one word, and they give it to us at the beginning. Samach. And you guys probably already know the word. Like you heard people say, Chag Sameach, right? Happy holidays. So that's where that word comes from, Samach. So we're gonna have our friends Sue and Lou are back again. Okay. Let's see here. Or should we read some, what time is it?
10:43.
Okay, yeah, we'll read this one and we'll read Ruth.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to start off reading?
I'll start.
I guess I can, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, go ahead. You just try to take the short sentence.
Lou and Sue,
Jeez.
Who would Sue Yashbu? It rhymes.
they sat
Yep,
in the house, or,
Yeah.
in the house.
you got it. Okay.
Okay, Sue said,
Mm-hmm.
Lou, you took,
We will
or
take,
we will,
Yeah.
sorry,
or we will go.
we will,
Go or walk. It's from Halach.
okay, hang on. A halak, okay, I see it now. We will go, we will go to the field
We will go to the field.
and
Mm-hmm.
Sham. There,
Mm-hmm.
we will eat.
Yeah, you got it. Very good. Okay,
Lou said,
very nice.
no. I will sit in the house
Mm-hmm.
and I will eat with like with the dishes with the
Yeah.
with the dishes on hand
Yeah.
the family
Near the family.
near the family, and I will eat with the dishes near the family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keep going or no?
No, go next.
Okay.
Sue,
Mm-hmm. give us like the semicolons. I guess this is Sue talking, right?
Yeah. We
They're having an argument here. Okay, so this is a rough one. Okay, so
took.
yeah, we will take.
We will take.
Yep.
We will take the family.
Mm-hmm.
To the field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We will sit.
Mm-hmm. It looks like the word sun, but it's not because it has a yod between it, and it means between.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, that's how I
I
remember.
recognized
It's
it,
got
but
a
I
yod.
couldn't get-
Yeah, it's got a yod between it. It means between.
We will sit between the
Your-
fields.
The trees. Your root is eights.
And trees.
It's a 2-letter
Last
root.
week, I think.
Yeah. So we got the hey, which means the,
Mhm.
and then we have the im,
Mhm.
which is the plural,
Plural.
and then we're just left with the ayin and the tsere.
We sit between the trees,
Mm-hmm.
and we will eat.
Mm-hmm. There.
There.
Sham is there.
No.
We'll eat there.
We eat there. And I don't know.
Dumb.
Gam is also. And also.
So
And then that is the
the
root.
rejoice.
Yep.
Will rejoice.
We will
And
rejoice.
joy.
Mhm. Good job. Okay. Becca?
Blue. There we go.
He's a typical dad.
No, I will go.
Yeah, I will not go.
Oh. No, I will not go. And I don't know that.
Gone there.
Oh,
Also,
no, I
Yes.
will not go, and also no.
When the low is before like a verb, it
It
just
makes it-
it negates the verb. So that is our root.
Oh, and not rejoice.
Yeah.
I
No.
will not rejoice.
I will not go, and I will not rejoice.
Stick in the mud.
Okay, get that next one.
No. You really don't want me to.
You know these
It's
words.
gonna take 25 minutes.
No, do it.
Do it. Just sound it out the way it sounds too.
Well, I can sound it out.
Okay.
I don't know what they mean.
You do.
Sue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it means.
I would say.
Okay. Take the olive away. Right? We know that's a prefix. Try one of the other letters that can drop away. Yep. You got it. First try. So I will take. Lechem.
Lechem?
Yep.
I want to say the bread, but I don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bread.
I will take the bread.
And that next word is water. Bread and water.
I
I will
will
take.
take the bread and water.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what
The Father.
Oh, okay. I will take the bread and water, the Father. I don't understand the
So
syntax of that.
Sue says, I will take the bread and the water. The Father, he will take.
Oh, okay, I see.
He will take. And then what's the next? Just sound out the next two words together. The Father, he will take.
Coco?
Say it.
Coca?
Yeah. The next word.
Coca-Cola.
See, you're reading it right now.
And oh no, sorry.
Yeah, you got it. He will take Coca-Cola, and then what's the next word there? Our root is Shema.
And I will. I'll do something.
Well, it's the noon from Anachnu.
We will.
We will listen,
We will listen
and then we got the
to a
etz.
direct object.
Yep. We will listen, and then
Hold. I remember both.
yeah, sound or voice.
To the voice.
Of the trees.
Whew, this
I don't know what they're eating in those.
The
You want me to finish it?
voice of the trees and who? She.
Okay, but we're gonna translate it as it.
Oh,
Okay,
of course
so
we are.
he or she can also be it, right?
Okay.
And it. This is dumb.
Ye.
The word is patach. And it will open. Patach is open, so it will open the soul and
And halak. No, halal.
what's a lave
English
or
like
lave?
just came to my head. So.
Your heart?
Yeah,
The heart?
it will open the soul and the heart.
Okay.
Okay.
Voice of the trees. will open the soul.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Pretty mystical.
Yeah.
See
That was
what
a tough-
Lou were
that was a
doing
tough
in
sentence.
Yep, you got the hardest one in the whole class today,
I was gonna have
and I made you do it. You're like, Lee's a mean guy.
I did. Oh, Lou. Oh, what is that word?
Mhm.
Haiti?
So it's a form of the word haya. Did you remember what haya means?
To be.
Some form of the word to be.
Yeah. Be.
So it's like I was. That's what that means. I was.
I was.
Mhm.
I was in the what? So if we have a bet, that's a preposition, right? Means like in or to.
Okay.
And then if it has like a ah sound underneath it, it's definite, right? Because it takes that from the hey.
Mhm.
So it's in the sade. And the way I remember sade,
If you don't work in
is that how you remember it?
in the field. Okay.
I always think of a sod field. So.
That makes sense.
Sod.
Theater.
I do work on Sunday.
Yishvati.
Yeshavti, yeah.
I was in the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
No,
It
that's-
says
It's
Lou.
between.
Lou.
Oh, between the trees.
Between the trees. Of course.
Lou says, I was in the field. And I did sit between the trees.
Okay.
Or I will sit between the trees.
Today.
Start with achalti.
Salty, which is I will go there.
What?
I will go.
I ate.
I ate.
Is it I ate or I will eat? No.
I
Because
ate.
it's
It's
an
like
and.
it's trying to confuse you because it's using past tense.
And future tense in the same.
It's like reviewing.
I was in the trees. I will go.
So the middle one right there, yeshavti, we could translate it. says, I was in the field eating between the trees.
Okay.
You could translate it that way too, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so I was in the field eating between the trees, that's
Mhm.
what Lou said.
I ate there. He's being a jerk, right?
Mhm.
And I
And
I know and know
I know.
velo
It's not
Velo
the-
and no.
And no.
Nick
Yeah.
Cave.
and know
No, sure. Machti.
he didn't like it very much.
That's the rejoice, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
See our
I
Sorry,
will
I
not
did not
rejoice.
rejoice.
yeah. See our word at the top where
Oh, yeah.
he says Lou says I was in the field eating sitting between the trees. I ate there and I did not rejoice.
Boo-hoo.
Okay, good job.
Really good.
Oh, you missed some. That was good. Yeah, but you had that was a rough one.
on
That was a rough
purpose,
one. Okay, Tim.
Okay, so Sue.
Yep.
I will go.
Yeah.
I will go, and then Ani is I. Oh, I will go today. No.
You don't really need the ani in there,
That's not right. Okay.
but they put it in there, so it could be make it more emphatic, or it could just be having it there to help you understand.
I will go
Mhm.
in with
Mhm.
the family
Mhm.
and we will eat. No, and we
Yeah.
will eat in the field.
Mhm. Keep going.
Lou. Man, this is a petty argument though. I just want to intervene and just tell them like, can y'all just work this out?
I just wanted to leave Lou alone. He just wants to stay home.
You better.
He doesn't want to go.
He needs to get it together. But
So
Sue
why do you
does
wanna make-
everything for him.
Why do you want to make me do something I don't want to do?
I feel like we're uncovering some.
And Lou says, I was Hayu.
Y'all, or
Oh,
they
Oh,
were.
it's with the family? Okay.
There were,
Hayu.
yeah. There was. They was.
They were, or they were,
There was.
there was
I told you it was they was.
there were animals.
Yeah.
Wait, they were with animals.
No.
No, they were yeah.
There were animals.
animals
Yeah.
in.
I'm messing you up. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There were animals in the field,
Yeah.
and the henna.
He's telling him why he don't want to go because what happened last time.
The henna and you, no henna
They.
and they.
And the they is the animals because
Uh-huh.
behemoth is feminine, right?
Right. Okay. There were animals in the field, and they ate at the
Coal.
coal. That's the everything, and they ate all of the bread.
Yeah, he's telling her why he don't want to go because last time we went, there was animals in the field and they ate all the bread.
of the bread.
Yeah.
Also, Hayom. Also today,
Mm-hmm.
Hana. They.
Mm-hmm.
Also today, they were eating.
They will eat.
They will eat the. They will eat the bread.
Yep.
Oh, so they were. I was there in the field. There were animals there. They ate all the bread, and today they're going to eat all the bread.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why he's telling her why you don't want to go because he didn't have a good experience last time.
Have a good experience.
Okay. Well,
So,
She's got to compromise the situation.
Okay. We
Yeah.
will sit
Mm-hmm.
and, no, not and, or,
I think that Vav is a misspelling right there. I think that Vav's supposed to go in front of the next word.
They're not allowed to misspell things.
Yeah. There's a couple mistakes in the book.
okay.
Yeah. We will sit.
The-
Just forget about that Vav. I think it's supposed to go on the next word.
Okay, give me a
We will
second.
sit.
We will sit,
In the.
give me a minute.
What's an oh hell?
Oh, hell, oh, forever.
No.
Oh, a tent.
Yep,
We'll
we-
sit in the tent.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that Vav's supposed to go in for the next word.
And-
Yeah.
we will eat.
Yeah. We'll sit in the tent and we'll eat, she says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to do the next sentence?
Sure. Lou. No.
No.
It's really
No. Yeah, I know. I know. No.
No. It says
I don't know.
you do not know.
You do not know.
Right.
And
Oh, you will not know, he says.
you will not know, and the trees know.
No.
No.
You will not know and you will not find.
And you matzah. You will not find.
What will she not find?
What?
What will she not find?
Just a second. The roadway
Yeah.
in the field.
You will not find the road to the field. Yep. Good job.
Sue. Oh.
Read the next word.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay then. Ata is you Taylor. You go. You will
Okay.
go,
She says, okay, then you will go.
then you will go. Okay, then you will go. And also I will find.
You will find.
You will find.
And you know it's masculine, right? She's
Why?
talking to Lou, right?
Mhm.
See it?
But how do you know she's not saying I will find? Oh,
Because
because
there's
it's a Tav, not an Olive.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay. Okay, you will find the road, and you.
she's telling what he's about to do.
I know. I'm
He's gonna do it.
You you will sit.
Yeah.
You will sit between the trees,
Mm-hmm.
and you will eat
Mm-hmm.
in the field,
Mm-hmm.
and then if
Mm-hmm.
if you don't listen,
No.
right?
If you don't enjoy or rejoice.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay, it's not a.
If you don't like it,
Yeah.
then you don't like it. That's what
You
she
don't
tells
like
him.
it. Well, then you don't.
And you don't like it.
Good job, babe.
Thanks.
Okay, finish this off.
And then,
Lou.
and then, what?
Lou.
Oh, and then Lou walked.
Yeah, he went.
Lou went.
Then Lou went.
And then,
Also.
no, also. and found the field.
The
The
road.
way.
Yep. The way. Yep.
The way, and he
Mm-hmm.
sat
Mm-hmm.
between the trees,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
ate the bread.
What he ate what? In the.
Oh, in the field.
Mm-hmm. And he.
And he.
Yeah. He enjoyed it anyway. Okay.
Wow.
Hold on, we're not done. Page 113. All right. Need to read this. You never had any arguments like that, ever? Those are quite typical. Okay, so we're gonna look at Naomi. All right, on the road to Judah, Naomi and Orpah and Ruth. Okay, so y'all know the story already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only new words in line 1 here, you already know Naomi and then Orpah. It's really Orpah. Like, you know how like we have the word coal and we pronounce it coal, but it's spelled like this. So we pronounce it coal
Or
because this is a closed syllable. When we get this with a closed syllable, it sounds like oh, but I won't make a big deal about it if you just say oh. So we got Ruth, Naomi, and Orpah. Okay, so cover the left side. Let's see. I think you're next, right? You're next.
We'll have to leave in 5 minutes.
Okay.
I have an order.
Number
Just
1.
might not.
You just don't want to read.
Do it.
We don't have to read
I
it.
have an order.
Can you read number 1?
Yeah, Batherick,
Okay. That word.
something on the road.
Um,
To the road, on the road?
Yes. Okay, and it's to Yehuda,
Okay.
to Judah. Okay. On the road to Judah. Amra, Naomi.
Amra, Naomi. Then
La Orpa, Verut. So on the road to
On the road to Judah, Naomi,
said,
Orpah.
yeah. Naomi said to Orpah and Ruth.
Return.
Mm-hmm. You got
Return.
Oprah?
Oh, is that Oprah?
Yeah.
Or Orpah?
Yeah.
Return Orpah.
You guys haven't got that case ending on that last word? It means yours, and the word is im, your mother.
Oh, is that your?
Return to the house of your mother.
Oh, that's the. Return to the house of your mother.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so you can look at the English side if you guys want to look at it. Look for a minute. Look for just a bit more. Time's up. Go ahead.
on 3.
Yep.
And this one's an easy one. It's return Ruth to the house of your mother.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now number 4, we're gonna get this word chesed. It's a very special word in the Bible.
Mhm.
Your Bible probably translates it love and kindness,
Mhm.
but it's a really large word, right? It means more like it kind of means like grace. So we have the word pen that also means grace, and chesed kind of also means like grace. It's like loving kindness. It's like generosity and kindness that somebody doesn't deserve. Mhm. So like chesed ve'emet. You see that in the Bible a lot. Loving kindness and truth, right? So there might be something to that, like where they said like, you know, law came through Moses and grace and truth came through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They might be thinking like that. Like chesed ve'emet. Okay. And you guys know Yod He Vav He, right? Adonai. Okay. Who's gonna read 4? You wanna read 4, Mom?
Sure.
Shalach.
Shema. Sent. No?
Yeah, that's yeah. But we got the signal letter before it.
I was sent, will send,
Yeah. So he will send.
he will send.
Who's the one that's gonna do the sending?
Yah-Heh-Vaveh.
Yep. So we translate that. May the Lord send.
May the Lord send kindness, loving kindness to you.
Yep. Very good.
How do you say to you? Lakim?
Yeah, you won't see it that way most of the time though.
Okay.
You just won't.
Lakin? How do you see it? How do you see it?
Like,
Just
like-
conjugated?
yeah. Well, it's feminine, so you don't see it that way very much
Oh,
in the
okay.
Bible.
Okay.
Asher.
You can look at the other side if you want. This one has a bunch of names.
Because it's usually to ask.
Asher. Shalach. 10. Hesed. I don't know.
That's the dude's name.
Hesed?
No, the
Oh, I'm
next
not,
word.
well, I'm not there yet.
Oh.
As you, well, I'm just looking at it. As you sent kindness, okay, kindness to the Lamed, Mahalon, and to Kilon, Veli,
Yep.
and to me.
And to me. 6. Okay, so here's another one. This is a good example. Whenever it says like you will or he will, we can also translate that as may you.
Okay.
Like in the beginning, like in Genesis, when God says, "Let there be light," He literally says, "There will be light." That's really how it says, like imperfect light. But He's saying it, "Let there be light." So
May you.
what you think the root is? You had this one on your last one too. The root is matzah.
Oh, wait.
You're not-
Oh,
yeah.
I was on the second part.
Oh.
I shouldn't have been. May you find?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I see. May you find?
And that's the
Name.
that's the name.
That's Orca?
Yeah.
Okay. Find Orca. Rest? This is rest?
Yeah.
In the house?
Mm-hmm.
In the man's house?
Yeah, which in this case means a husband, right? Because their 2 sons. You remember the story, right? They died. Okay.
In
Next.
your husband.
You gotta go?
Yes, I have
Okay.
it sent me at the shop in 15 minutes.
Okay. I'll see you next week.
So
also starts with May 5th?
Mm-hmm.
Can we, I just want to say it right. Let's see, right?
Yep, but this time she's talking to Ruth, right?
Okay.
May you find Ruth.
So they're giving a little. Well, this is the way you find it in the Bible. But remember, in the Bible, in Hebrew generally, you're going to get the verb first. So they're trying to get you prepped for that. Yep.
It's above.
Yeah, that's the
No,
word.
may you find, okay, so may you find Ruth rest in the house of a man.
Mhm. She tells her the same thing.
May. Okay, so it's literally like the exact same.
Yeah. Okay.
V'Naomi nashkach le
Nashka.
Nashka? Oh yeah, Nashka. V'Nashka kissed. Then Naomi kissed to Orpha
Mhm.
and to Ruth.
Mhm.
She kissed to Orpha and she kissed to Ruth.
Yep. That's the way you'll find it in
You'll
Hebrew
find it
too,
in-
when you do something. That everything's to somebody.
To somebody and
Yeah.
to somebody, but you can translate it as she kissed Orpha and Ruth.
Right. Okay. Number 9. Mom.
Okay. Orpha and Ruth. Said,
They said.
they said to Naomi,
Mhm.
do I go to 10?
Go ahead, sure.
Okay.
Making sense.
We will go,
Yep.
we will go.
Imach. So
Imach.
im is with,
Yeah,
and you haven't gotten that ending yet, but it tells you with you.
oh, with you, okay. To your people.
Very good.
Yay.
You gotta
2's 3.
stretch the brain.
Wow!
They give it to you all together at the end if you guys want to try it later. Without
Of
the.
course. Got to.
Good job, guys. So I told you, now we're getting into serious business. You guys are all doing good. And if you ever get discouraged, go back. I'm telling you, if you get discouraged, go back and you will laugh and be like, this is so easy.